Thank you for tuning in to the Fantasy Football GOAT Strategies. This is your host, Dub FFG. Welcome. Today, we're going to talk about the top 5 fantasy wide receivers for 2021. Let's get to it. Coming in at number 5, we have A.J. Brown. A.J. is going to benefit tremendously from his childhood idol. That's Julio Jones. Julio Jones is now on the Tennessee Titans as the other wide receiver. And couple that with Derrick Henry and those two receivers, this offense is going to be pretty dynamic and unstoppable. So it's going to keep defenses off balance. Who's going to benefit just as much as any other two? That's going to be A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown is going to be a part of a three-headed monster offense where Julio Jones is going to add the dynamic to it, but A.J. is going to add the consistency to it from a wide receiver standpoint. And then you have Derrick Henry adding that consistency in the backfield. So this is what puts A.J. Brown in my top 5 for 2021 fantasy football wide receivers. Next, we have DK Metcalf. DK is out there in Seattle with Russell Wilson, and he is dominant. He's too big, too fast, too strong. And he's going to be consistent for Russell Wilson. So again, too strong, too big, too fast. DK is the man. He's going to be the playmaker just as he was last year. So not sure how far Seattle's going to go in the playoff hunt, but they're definitely going to be something to be reckoned with when it comes to DK and Russell Wilson. Coming in at number 3, we have Devonta Adams. Now this is surprising to most because most analysts around the internet have Devonta Adams at number 1 as far as wide receiver, because he and his quarterback are on their kind of last dance kind of performance for the season. So he and Aaron Rodgers are going to team up. Adams is the most consistent out of all of the receivers, and he's the most dependable out of all the receivers for Aaron Rodgers. He's his go-to receiver, so they're going to put up some big numbers in Green Bay. Not sure about their win total, but they're going to put up some big numbers. Coming in at number 2 is Calvin Ridley. Now, this is definitely surprising to most to be in the top 5, but you got to look at it. Calvin Ridley is now the clear number 1 receiver in Atlanta. He's on a bad team, so he's going to be playing from behind. What does that normally mean? He's going to be getting a lot of stats, particularly in the catches, yardage, and touchdowns. His touchdowns are going to be heavy, and his yardage is going to be heavy. He does have the addition of Kyle Pitts from Florida as a tight end, but Kyle is probably going to line up more in the slot, as more so that with his hand on the turf. So Calvin Ridley is going to benefit tremendously being that number 1 receiver. He can carry that load. He's been number 1 receiver before, particularly in college. And whenever Julio Jones was out, he was the number 1 receiver. And when Julio was there, he was still just as productive. So Calvin Ridley, he's listed at number 2 in my analysis, but don't be surprised if he ends up at number 1. And coming in at number 1 is Stefon Diggs. Stefon Diggs and his quarterback, they are hungry. They had a taste of the playoffs last year. They were on a run. They thought they were going to make it to the Super Bowl, but that came up short. So he's this quarterback favorite target, but they're still hungry. They tasted it a little bit. They like that taste of that playoff taste. They like that feel. So they're going to be out to get it this year. Stefon Diggs is going to be lights out. That's why he makes number 1 for me at the fantasy football receivers for 2021. And just to recap, again, we're talking about A.J. Brown, DK Metcalf, Devonta Adams, Calvin Ridley, and Stefon Diggs. These are the Fantasy Football GOATs strategies, top 5 fantasy wide receivers. Thank you. And hit that like button, the subscribe button as you leave out, and share the video. This is Dub FFG, your fantasy football GOAT strategist. Till next time.